Hey everyone, welcome back to TapRooT TV. I'm Benna Hughes, and we are starting our second part of our Summit series, and I have Janney here with me today, and you are heading up the, improving safety and risk management.
Right. So welcome to TapRooT TV, everybody. As Benna mentioned, we have some exciting news about the Summit that we're going to be sharing with you over a period of several weeks, and so I'm excited to tell you about the track that I'm going to be heading up, the safety and risk track, and it's going to be a good time. We've got some great speakers, and I know that it's going to be beneficial for everybody that attends.
It's our favorite thing to do every year, isn't it?
Yeah.
We love it. We get to see all of our old friends. We get to make new friends, and everybody goes home with a wealth of knowledge. Let's talk a little bit about what all's in your track, what you've gotten set up, because I know you've worked really hard to get a good track set for all the people who select your area. So first is going to be TapRooT users share best practices.
Right, that's one of our most popular sessions every year, and I know this year we're going to make even a few more changes and improvements to it.
Yes.
But this is really a great way to kick off the summit for people, because after our first kickoff keynote, we go right into this session, which is a great way for people to hear what other TapRooT users are doing.
Yes.
That's one of the main benefits of the summit is the benchmarking with other people, particularly from other industries, other companies. I know I worked in the same industry for 27 years, and you kind of get that tunnel vision a little bit. So it's great to hear from different industries, different disciplines. For example, a quality person in a hospital can learn something from a safety person at a refinery.
Right.
And so since this conference is really made up of the TapRooT super users, this is a great session to find out what other people are doing and learn some new techniques and some new best practices.
It's always great to think outside the box. It's kind of like we talk about TapRooT helps eliminate bias. The summit can help eliminate some of that too, because you do get to talk to people from different industries and all the different types of things they do, and it can open your eyes to something new. It is always a very, very popular, and we are going to, I think we're going to kind of do a more focused type of breakout session in that, to where there's actually maybe stations and topics you go around to. So those of you who've been to it in the past, expect something different this time. Okay, so then after that, we have lunch, and then we go to using TapRooT to conform to ISO management system requirements.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this session for a few different reasons. Number one, our speaker is Nancy Hitchens.
She's fabulous.
And she's one of our longtime TapRooT instructors, but she also has been doing a lot of work with ISO management systems for a number of years. And now, one of the things that's happened over the past few years is a real streamlining of the different standards. In particular, one of the things she's going to talk about, since this is in the safety track, is how you can use TapRooT to help you with ISO 45001, which is a new standard for safety and risk. And in the past, ISO had really defined standards for quality management, for environmental, and that's typically what people think of when they think of ISO standards. But there has not really been a codified, really good standard worldwide for safety. There are different standards out there, different types of management systems, VPPA, and some of the other standards out there. But now, with the rollout of 45001, it's really codified a lot of the safety best practices worldwide. A lot of our clients work for global companies. It's not just a US-based thing or a Europe-based thing. It's a worldwide standard. And Nancy's going to do a great job of kind of helping us understand the new standard and how TapRooT can fit into that and help with that.
Oh, that'll be
So I'm really
great.
excited.
Yeah,
because a lot of times safety people haven't really been exposed a lot of times to that kind of thought process. So I think this is going to be a great session.
I think that will
I'm
be
really excited about it.
I don't recall us doing something like that in the past. I mean, we may have something.
We did one a
similar,
few
but
years ago, but that was way before this standard was in existence.
So, that'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
What has TapRooT done for Weatherford?
Yeah, so we're going to bring back Sean Holden again this year. He did a talk last year about kind of TapRoot's journey inside Weatherford. and some of the improvements they've made. And one of the things we're going to focus on this year, because he did such a great job of telling us about the kind of their journey. This year, we're going to bring some more metrics into it, because that's one of the things he briefly mentioned that a lot of people were interested in. So we're going to bring a few more metrics into it. They use it for a lot of things, not just safety, and they've really done what I consider to be one of the best jobs of implementing TapRooT of any of our clients. So
always great to learn from them.
Yeah, so Sean's going to do a great job, and so I'm really excited about bringing him back again this year.
He's a very dynamic
He
personality.
is. He's a great speaker and knows his business.
He is.
Knows his business.
We really enjoy having him at the summit and are very, very lucky that he comes and shares the way he does. Okay, so then that night we'll have our reception, and that's always a fun event. We'll have Carl Dixon again, and Dave will sing again, I'm sure.
We hope so.
So
outside,
yeah,
on the lake, and
boy, the last time we had it at Horseshoe Bay was phenomenal. The weather was fantastic, and fingers crossed we have that again. And it was just a really wonderful evening, so I'm looking forward to that. The next morning, we usually start a little later the next morning, and we will have our keynote, and we'll talk about those briefly here at the end. But then the session starts, and it's going to be lessons learned from space. And Jim Weatherby, very, very popular speaker last year. So
yeah, Jim did a keynote last year, as well as a breakout session last year. One of the things we try to do when we have a really good keynote is we ask them if they'd be kind enough to stay over and do a talk in one of the tracks in addition to their keynote. So he's going to do that again for us again this year. And Jim is an astronaut, but he's also written several books on risk. And who better to tell us about risk than somebody that's been to space? But he's also got refinery experience and a lot of really great leadership experience. So
it was something last year.
Yeah, it was a great talk last year. So I'm really looking forward to that. And when I saw that he was coming back, I wanted to grab this session and put it in my track.
Well, good job, because he left his keynote last year and everybody just followed him out the door and kind of went to his breakout session because they just wanted to learn more. Right. They realized that wealth of knowledge that he had, and they just wanted to just grab onto that and learn some more from somebody like him. He's fantastic. Then we'll have eliminating failing fixes, how to measure and improve corrective action effectiveness.
Right. So this is going to be a great session because, number one, my personal opinion is you can do the best investigation in the world, but if you don't have good corrective actions, you essentially wasted your time. I mean, it's really nice to do a great investigation, but the output of your investigation are your corrective actions.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things we teach in TapRooT to help you with that. We've got a lot of tools, a lot of techniques, but at the end of the day, the corrective actions are the output of your investigation. You've got to have good corrective actions. And why don't people write good corrective actions? Well, number one is they don't know how. And the other problem is corrective actions are at the end of an investigation. People are really tired.
Right.
I can't help you with that. They're always going to be at the end. But what we can help you with is to get better at writing them. And Kevin McManus is one of our contract instructors.
Yes.
He's been teaching TapRooT forever.
Very long
and
time.
He is absolutely one of the highest rated speakers at the summit. He's a great speaker, just a wealth of knowledge. And he's got a really good way of talking about corrective actions. I've seen him talk kind of a different talk before, but this one is really going to be focused on those corrective actions and how you measure them to make sure they're effective. So I always make sure I have Kevin in my track every year. So this is going to be a great session.
He's great. And like I said, the corrective actions, I mean, if you do all the stuff leading up to it and don't do the effective corrective actions, you're just going to be going back through it again.
And it happens all the time, unfortunately. It happens all the time.
This sounds interesting. What does a good safety meeting look like?
Yeah. So, every year we get suggestions for talks for the following year. And this is one of the suggestions that people had because, one of the great things about the TapRooT Summit is it's a lot of really great TapRooT best practices, but we also try to incorporate some other things you can use that aren't necessarily TapRooT focused. And who better to give us that kind of information than some of our clients? So the last two sessions on Thursday are both going to be from clients for not necessarily TapRooT related issues. So safety meetings. Bernitha Richardson is going to speak about her experience with safety meetings. And, I know in my past life, I've seen some really effective safety meetings, and I've seen some that are more like a check the box. Mm-hmm. You bring everybody in, you list what's wrong, and you go out and fix it. I call that the light bulb committee.
Yeah.
It's not a safety meeting.
Right.
It's a light bulb committee. Your maintenance department should be fixing that stuff already.
Right.
You shouldn't have to wait for a safety meeting to fix stuff. So that's just one example of how I've seen safety meetings not be real effective. And so she's going to share some best practices. What does a good safety meeting look like? Because you want to get something out of that meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just a feel good, let's eat some donuts and talk about what's wrong. We really want to get some results from it. So that's going to be a good one. And then the next client is Renee Jordan, who's going to talk about lessons learned and sharing results.
Oh, that should be good.
Yeah, and that's going to be a great talk because, again, we might have really good corrective actions, but do we share them with the rest of the company? I had a client tell me a really interesting story a while back. They had a major problem in their region. Mm-hmm. They put together a project team. They did a really good job of fixing it. It fixed the problem.
Yep.
And then he found out that their business unit in Asia had solved that problem a year ago.
Wouldn't it have been nice for them to have known?
Yeah, and then they found out their business unit in the U.S. had solved it 5 years ago.
Wow.
So you had 3 separate teams solve one problem years apart because they didn't communicate it. So Renee is going to share with us lessons learned and how she gets the word out at her company, mm-hmm. because it really, really is important. When you solve a problem, you got to get it out to everybody else.
Yeah, she should be a dynamic speaker
yeah,
too.
she's a TapRooT super user,
yes,
for
she
sure.
Is.
So
she
yeah,
is.
I'm really excited. One of the things I try to do, as you know, is when I put together a track, I don't want it to be all TapRooT folks. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to be all outside people. I want a mixture. So I think we've got a good mixture in the track this year.
Great.
Outside experts, clients, and TapRooT people. I think that mixture of having those 3 different groups of people really adds to the effectiveness of the track, mm-hmm. and kind of change things up a little bit as you go through. And everybody we have that's speaking is top notch.
Oh, so yeah, you have a
great topics, great speakers, because you have to have both, right?
You do.
You have to have both. You can have a great topic and a bad speaker, and it's not too good. So,
exactly.
I'm confident that we have everything in place for this to be a really, really successful track.
It looks very, very complete, and just winding up there near the end with getting those lessons learned out there, just is a perfect way to end it. So
yeah, so
awesome job.
I think it's great, but then add into that the keynotes that everybody goes to regardless of track. And you already talked about the party, so
yeah,
if you took
exactly.
any one of these things by itself, would be worth coming to the summit.
It is.
But you put it all together, and it's just a great return on investment of your time.
Fantastic, and you combine it with those pre-summit courses. I was talking to somebody last year, and all of a sudden I kind of realized the value on the money spent that week mm-hmm. is so incredible. Like if you had people who needed to have the 2-day course, just the regular 2-day TapRooT course, okay, do that and send them to the rest of the 3 days. Mm-hmm. That's cheaper than a 5-day.
You're already there.
You're going to leave with so much knowledge that it's just crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, that's why we really love for people to send teams, because they can come and they can divide out into different segments, and just the amount of information that they can take back is, their return on investment is massive.
Yeah, it's a great team building exercise. It's really good to bring a team, really good.
Well, and we're also going to do, again, this year, we started something new last year, which is in the last session, the Roadmap for Success. Mm-hmm. And that was a very successful session. It kind of, in the past, we had done people's takeaways from the summit, and mm-hmm. this was more, how to build out your program. The things I kind of asked people, so where do you see your program falling short or something like that? Look mm-hmm. for the holes that you have in your program, and let's go figure out how to fill them. Do you have a frustration? Do you have something like that? What is it you need to do in your program? And everybody kind of brainstorms, and we walk you through a path, and at the end you leave with this nice direction to go in when you get home.
Yeah, you go home with a plan.
Mm-hmm. And it's something that we then follow up with you on and help work with you after the summit. So we just carry the summit on throughout the year that way, don't we?
Yeah, and that's why we're getting started early this year.
We
are already in summit mode.
March will be here before we know it. I mean, it's August this week coming up. So we're super excited, and we are really looking forward to seeing you all back there. We're going to be at Horseshoe Bay Resort, about an hour outside of Austin. It was probably one of our most popular venues we've held the summit at. I mean, people just really, really loved it. So we're going back there again. It'll start, pre-summit starts the 9th of March, and we end up on Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought Friday the 13th were lucky days for me. So. So we will be there, and we want you to be there too. And this is one of the tracks that you can sign up for. And you've done a really, really great job of putting it together. And if somebody doesn't, because we have these other tracks, if you sign up for one of these other tracks, that doesn't mean you cannot be in one of these sessions. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a customization tool. When you sign up for the summit, you can select a safety track, but you can switch out one session or another. So if you sign up for a different track, but there's a session that I just talked about that you would like to attend, that's no problem. You can completely customize your schedule.
I could see that happening. These are some good topics.
Yeah.
You did a great job, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for watching TapRooT TV, everybody. We'll see you at the summit.
Yeah, and just be sure, and if you want more information, check out on our website, taproot.com. Email us at info@taproot.com. Subscribe to this channel. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Mark likes to say there'll be a button here for you to subscribe to, and hit the bell to get notifications if you're on YouTube, so you won't miss any of this great information we send out for you. So thank you so much, and we'll see you back here next time.